No, I'm not. I'm just a good provider. That's why. I mean, girls are attracted by me because I'm not stingy. You know, whatever I got goes. Just have it. Boom, bye.
I am an American, born there. My father slaved there. Upon the backs of my people was developed the primary wealth of America.
Everyone sees the glow of fame, but few know that behind that glittering light, darkness always lurks in silence. Those who stand at the pinnacle of glory don't just bask in admiring gazes. They also face hidden battles that only insiders truly understand. Fame isn't an endless red carpet. It's a double-edged sword forever hovering overhead. Stars must brace themselves against envy, slander, temptation, and even threats from shadowy forces they can't escape. Today, let's take a hard look at the lives of black artists who stood tall through the harshest storms of the entertainment industry. You won't believe what happened to them, the secrets buried for decades. The 19 stories I'm about to tell, hard to believe, but entirely true, will peel back the hidden corners behind the dazzling glow of black celebrity. You might doubt it, but hear me out. By the end, you may see this glamorous world through different eyes. 19. Redd Foxx, stealing a co-star's body to teach a difficult director. Redd Foxx, the man with razor-sharp, sarcastic humor, transformed American entertainment with his bold roles, most notably Fred Sanford in the sitcom Sanford and Son, 1972 to 1977. Hailed as one of Hollywood's greatest comedians, Foxx lived and worked under the shadow of racism, using his talent and audacity to turn pain into laughter. But the most unforgettable story of his life wasn't his on-screen comedy. It was a dark prank behind the scenes that shook Hollywood. In 1975, while filming Sanford and Son in Hollywood, Foxx and his co-stars, including supporting actress LaWanda Page, decided to pull a stunt on a difficult director. This director was notorious for his condescending attitude and frequent insults toward black actors on set. After a black supporting actor in the cast died from depression, Foxx and his crew had had enough. So they hatched a wild plan. One night, as the crew prepped for the next scene, Foxx and his colleagues contacted a friend at a morgue, asking to borrow the body of the deceased actor. This actor had endured relentless bullying from the director while alive. The body had no family claiming it, so Foxx brought it to the studio. They dressed it up with sunglasses and a cigar, propping it in the director's chair as if waiting for him. For extra flair, Foxx placed a small sign next to the body that read, "Don't make me mad," a legendary line from Sanford and Son. When the director arrived at midnight to check equipment, he found the body, freaked out, tripped over himself, and screamed, thinking it was a ghost seeking revenge. Laughter erupted from Foxx and his crew in the background, but the prank quickly turned serious when morgue security reported the body missing. The stunt nearly led to a lawsuit, but Foxx used his connections with producers to smooth things over with the morgue, avoiding major fallout. Afterward, he and his crew took care of the deceased actor's funeral arrangements. Though the incident caused a stir and nearly became a scandal, Foxx always chuckled when recalling it. The prank became a legend in Hollywood's comedy circles, reflecting Foxx's fierce defiance against the injustice and racism he faced throughout his career, even in his final years. Foxx recounted the caper with a booming laugh. For him, laughter wasn't just entertainment, it was a razor-sharp weapon. Foxx proved that, even by borrowing a departed soul. He was ready to turn Hollywood into his own stage to teach arrogant jerks a lesson they'd never forget. 18. Hattie McDaniel, the Oscars scorned. Hattie McDaniel, the first black actress to win an Oscar for Best Supporting Actress in 1940, made history with her role as Mammy in Gone with the Wind. Despite racial prejudice, McDaniel fought and rose, becoming a symbol of resilience in a cutthroat Hollywood. But behind the prestigious Golden Oscar statue was a heartbreaking story. The 1940 Academy Awards were held at the Ambassador Hotel in Los Angeles due to racial segregation. McDaniel was barred from entering the main hall with the white actors. Only after MGM intervened was she allowed to attend. But she wasn't permitted to sit with other stars. McDaniel was forced to sit at a small table near the restrooms, far from the stage, like a ghost among the crowd. By then, her fame was undeniable, yet society still refused to acknowledge a black woman's presence in spaces meant for the deserving. When her name was called, McDaniel walked through a sea of white faces, giving her scornful looks to accept her award. It was a moment of triumph laced with humiliation that only she could fully grasp. That glory couldn't erase the sting of sitting isolated, far from everyone, or the fact that she had to take servant roles to be recognized. The black community criticized her, saying she sold out with the mammy role. But McDaniel, a sharp-minded woman, saw it differently. For her, it was the only chance to prove her talent in an industry ruled by racism. After accepting her award, she wasn't allowed to join the celebratory after-party and was forced to leave through the back door, her Oscar in hand, a bitter reminder of the price of success. 17. Ethel Waters, the unsolved theft on set and a fear that never faded. Ethel Waters, a legendary singer, actress, and host, was not only the first true black star to break barriers in Hollywood, but also an emblem of resilience in a racist industry. With her soulful voice and stellar acting, Waters left her mark in films like Pinky 1949 and in the hearts of audiences. Yet, behind the glamour, Waters faced an invisible fear. In 1949, while filming Pinky in Los Angeles, a mysterious theft rocked her ability to work normally. Her prized jewelry collection, pearl rings and gold necklaces, was stolen from her dressing room. There were no signs of a break-in, no clear traces of a culprit, just her belongings gone. No one was questioned by police, but Waters couldn't shake the feeling that someone on the crew was behind it, possibly driven by racial animosity. Feeling threatened in her own workplace, she demanded the studio provide private security and refused to film until her safety was assured. A week later, Waters received an anonymous package containing a cheap ring and a note that read, "You don't deserve that jewelry." It cut deep into her pride, a stark reminder of the unveiled hostility she faced. She kept the ring as evidence of the struggles she endured throughout her career. Tension spread through the set. Crew members said Waters would stare at colleagues with suspicion, as if everyone was a potential culprit. The atmosphere grew heavy, but no one could fully grasp the loneliness and anxiety she faced. She even started carrying a small knife in her purse, a precaution against dangers no one could predict. This wasn't just about a theft, it was about a subtle, ruthless system of racism that black stars like Waters had to navigate. The theft faded into obscurity. No one confessed, no one was caught, it was never solved, but it left a lasting mark on Waters, turning her into a vigilant, resilient woman. She no longer naively trusted Hollywood's security or rules. That cheap ring became a cherished keepsake, a reminder that the stage lights may shine bright, but the shadows behind them were full of traps, and only she could protect herself. 16. Paul Robeson, the secret behind the FBI's blacklist. Paul Robeson, a multifaceted artist and civil rights activist, stood out with his booming bass voice and unforgettable roles in Showboat 1936. Beyond music and film, Robeson was known for his bold stances on workers' rights and against racism, making him a thorn in the side of the U.S. government. In the 1950s, during the communist witch hunts, Robeson was a prime target of the FBI. They didn't just monitor him. They blacklisted him for supporting the Soviet Union and civil rights. In 1951, the FBI revoked his passport. Trapping him in the U.S., his performances were canceled en masse, and he was under tight surveillance. But that wasn't all. The FBI planted listening devices in his dressing rooms and hotel stays, recording his every word, every move, every action was watched. And in his mind, it was an unrelenting war. One of the most shocking incidents happened in 1952 as Robeson prepared for a show at Harlem's famous Apollo Theater. Before going on stage, he found a hidden microphone behind a dressing room mirror. Knowing he was being watched, Robeson didn't panic. Instead, he fought back boldly. He shouted protest songs like Joe Hill into the mic. defying the system with lyrics of resistance. When he was done, he smashed the mic. The FBI agents were stunned. Some even called him untamable. Robeson kept a piece of wire from the broken mic as a memento, joking it was the government's ear, a symbol of the surveillance he endured. After the incident, he grew even tougher. Despite intensified FBI scrutiny, he kept performing, singing as if daring the entire power structure. They blocked his path. He found detours. They locked doors. He built outdoor stages. No one could silence Robeson's voice. The FBI's blacklist made him a target, but it also turned him into an unbreakable monument. 15. Lena Horne, The Silent War with MGM. Lena Horne, one of the first black stars to break into Hollywood, shone with her elegant beauty and mesmerizing jazz voice. But her path wasn't easy. When she signed with MGM in 1942, she faced not only racial barriers, but also humiliating contract terms from the very company she trusted. Her MGM contract included a bizarre Clause 1 that could only exist in a racist era. Horne was restricted to standalone musical scenes, barred from main storylines. Why so Southern theaters could easily cut her scenes without disrupting the film? She was a rare black star on screen. But her presence sparked so much backlash from some Southern audiences that Hollywood had to soften the situation. It didn't stop there. While filming Ziegfeld Follies 1945, Horne was asked to perform scenes mimicking a Southern accent, portraying a servant-like figure. Furious, she refused. A heated argument erupted with the director, and her defiance made her a problem for MGM. But it got worse. MGM demanded she use special makeup to lighten her skin. Less black, for the audience's comfort, they said. Horne had enough. She threw a makeup compact at a mirror, shattering it, and shouted, "I'm not your painting." She was suspended from filming for a week, but never backed down. This rebellion wasn't just a moment of defiance, it was proof of Horne's unyielding spirit. After that, MGM had to ease up. Horne kept singing, wearing stunning gowns. But her eyes always burned with fire. She didn't just sing jazz, she sang for the frustration of countless black artists twisted to please crowds. And that voice was something Hollywood couldn't cut as easily as a film scene. 14. Sidney Poitier, facing death on set. Sidney Poitier, the first black actor to win a Best Actor Oscar, was an icon not just for his talent, but for his resilience in fighting racism. From Lilies of the Field to In the Heat of the Night, each role was a statement, a bold challenge to America's racial divide. But Poitier's climb to the top wasn't all glamour. In 1967, while filming In the Heat of the Night in Tennessee, he faced both professional challenges and extreme hatred from extremist groups. Threatening letters from the Ku Klux Klan, a notorious hate group, poured in, demanding he leave town. One letter, written in red ink and accompanied by a blood-stained white cloth bearing the Klan's symbol, stood out. Yet Poitier refused to back down, even under clear threats. He kept working, as if the intimidation was just part of the game. A week later, as Poitier drove back to his hotel after a long day of filming, a gunshot rang out. A bullet pierced his car's window, missing his head by inches. Strangely, Poitier stayed calm, refusing to let fear take over, though the film crew assigned bodyguards afterward. He insisted on driving alone through isolated roads, where danger could lurk at any turn. That was how he asserted his defiance against hate. After the shooting, Poitier sent the Klan's red ink letter to newspapers, a public challenge to those threatening his life. Police stepped in, and the culprits backed off. The near-death experience didn't break him. It made his image stronger. With every step, Poitier fought not just for his career, but for his life and for black people seeking a path to freedom. 13. Sammy Davis Jr., the accident that took his eye and the fight to protect his image. Sammy Davis Jr., a multi-talented icon of singing, dancing, and acting, was one of Hollywood's brightest stars, a key member of the Rat Pack. He fearlessly tackled challenges from racism and the pressure to maintain a perfect image. Everything was fine until 1954, when a horrific car accident changed it all. Driving from Las Vegas to Los Angeles, Davis was hit by another car, losing his left eye and nearly his life. But despite the pain and trauma, Sammy Davis Jr. didn't crumble. Instead, he turned the tragedy into an essential part of his stage persona. Throughout the years that followed, the $3,000 prosthetic eye, crafted to look strikingly lifelike, became an inseparable part of Davis. But then, one time, he accidentally bumped into the edge of a table, and the prosthetic eye suddenly popped out, rolling wildly across the floor. From that moment on, he never appeared without his glasses, even in private moments. The glasses were designed with a small notch to ensure the prosthetic eye stayed securely in place. People only saw him wearing those cool glasses and admired him even more. But few knew that they hid a deep wound in his soul, a way for him to conceal his pain and vulnerability. Once, at a party in Las Vegas, when a drunken fan tried to yank the glasses off his face, Sammy exploded with anger and stormed out of the party immediately. That was the moment everyone realized that, for Davis, the glasses weren't just an accessory. They were a part of his identity, a shield protecting the image he had painstakingly built throughout his career. Sammy Davis Jr. may have lost an eye, but he never lost his strength to face the world. Despite a harsh life full of challenges, he remained an unstoppable star. With that eye patch, Davis didn't just hide pain, he showed enduring power, proving that any obstacle, no matter how big, could fuel his shine. 12. Dorothy Dandridge, the clean pool water bottle, and a publicly humiliating past. Dorothy Dandridge, a radiant star in Hollywood, was the first black actress nominated for a Best Actress Oscar. Her stunning beauty and incredible talent shone through, showcasing strength and resilience in a racist industry. But behind the dazzling stage lights, Dandridge faced bitter challenges beyond imagination. One of the biggest shocks of her career came in 1955 while performing at a high-end Las Vegas hotel, though she was the show's star. She was banned from using the hotel's pool because of her race. Things got worse when, passing by the pool, Dandridge accidentally touched the water to retrieve a ball for a child. The hotel manager, without hesitation, ordered the pool drained, claiming it was contaminated. The harsh reaction left Dandridge in disbelief, as even the basic right to access a pool, a right any star deserved, was stripped away because of her skin color. After the incident, she found an anonymous gift box outside her hotel room door. Inside was a bottle labeled "Clean Pool Water." She demanded an investigation, but the manager brushed it off, citing no leads. From then on, she kept the bottle in her dressing room as a reminder of the daily hostility she faced, though deeply hurt. She performed with astonishing professionalism, singing Carmen Jones as a way to lift her spirits. But those wounds, though invisible, slowly ate away at her. 11. Billie Holiday, the mysterious voodoo doll collection and eerie curses. Billie Holiday, the queen of jazz with a voice full of raw emotion, won the hearts of millions with classics like Strange Fruit and God Bless the Child. She wasn't just a music icon, but a fighter through years of pain, from racism to addiction and domestic violence. Her music remains immortal, haunting across time. Yet few know that behind her glamorous facade, Holiday had a chilling hobby collecting voodoo dolls. These small wooden and cloth figures held a mysterious power in her eyes. She believed they brought luck and protected her from evil forces. Kept in a locked box, she only showed them to close friends like Ella Fitzgerald. But the strangeness of this secret didn't stop there. In 1956, during a performance at a Chicago nightclub, a voodoo doll was found in Holiday's dressing room. It wasn't as safe as before a pin was stabbed into its chest, startling everyone. Rumors spread like wildfire, with whispers that Holiday was using the dolls to curse her enemies. Did she believe it? Or was it just a prank to mess with nosy folks? with her signature half-smile. Holiday claimed the doll was just a playful gag, but no one bought it. Things grew murky and mystical. Close friends said she'd whisper to her voodoo dolls before shows, like a ritual to channel energy for the roaring crowds after her death. The box holding over a dozen dolls vanished mysteriously. Stranger still, a friend later claimed to have seen a doll, identical to Holiday's favorite, in a New Orleans occult shop. 10. Count Basie, the living mannequin prank. Count Basie, a jazz legend and founder of the Count Basie Orchestra, helped swing jazz reach its peak. His name is tied to timeless hits like 1 O'Clock Jump, but his success wasn't just about music. It came from his ability to confront and outwit those who insulted him. Everyone knew Basie as calm, but few realized that beneath that cool exterior was a wildly creative spirit, especially in bold acts of revenge. In 1948, at a Harlem party, Basie and his bandmates staged a prank that stunned the entertainment world. The reason a prominent producer had mocked his band, calling them savages while still wanting to profit from their work. That hit Basie's pride, and he decided to strike back in the most original way. Basie hired an actor to pose as a mannequin, standing motionless in a corner like a corpse. The actor's face was painted white, giving a creepy, ghostly look. When the producer entered the party, greeted with respectful glances, he had no clue he was walking into a trap. Suddenly, the mannequin came to life, shrieking and lunging at him. Chaos erupted. The producer, terrified, knocked over a table and fled the party in shock. What made the prank even wilder was Basie's staging. He manipulated lighting to create an eerie glow, making the mannequin seem to shine in the dim party haze. The stunt was so shocking that the producer refused to work with Basie for years. Still, the story became a jazz world legend, retold with hearty laughs by Basie's band. 9. Diahann Carroll, clash with a fake director. Diahann Carroll, a legendary actress with graceful beauty and versatile talent, was the first black woman to star in a TV show. Julia, 1968, a historic milestone in entertainment. But behind the glamour, she faced countless dark schemes in the industry. In 1968, an hour before Julia's final shoot in New York, Carroll got a call from someone claiming to be an assistant director. He asked her to come to an abandoned warehouse in the suburbs for a special scene. It seemed routine, so Carroll, trusting the professionalism of the production, agreed. But when she arrived, the place was eerily quiet, no crew, just a strange man. As she entered, he tried to lock the warehouse door, sending her into a panic. She screamed, but she was alone. Luckily, some nearby construction workers heard her and saved her from danger. Police later found an abandoned camera in the warehouse with an empty film roll, as if prepared just for her. The chilling feeling lingered, but instead of fear. Carroll kept the camera in her office as a reminder of the dangers in showbiz. She became hyper-vigilant, demanding ID checks for everyone on set and carrying a perfume bottle for self-defense. The case was never fully resolved. The man claimed he was just a crazed fan wanting to meet her. Whatever the truth, it exposed the sinister plots Carroll and other black stars faced in the industry. 8. Harry Belafonte, the collection of blood-written threat letters. Harry Belafonte, a famed singer, actor, and civil rights activist, wasn't just a 1950s star, but a symbol of the fight for equality, with hits like Day-O and standout roles in Carmen Jones. He fearlessly used his fame to combat racism, but in that fight, he faced terrifying threats. In 1959, as Belafonte dove deeper into the civil rights movement, a wave of threatening letters arrived at his New York home and hotels across the country. From Chicago to Atlanta, these weren't just hateful words, they were written in animal blood, making them bone-chilling. Each letter demanded he stop supporting racial equality, but instead of bowing. Belafonte faced them head-on. He refused to let fear control him, though his worry for his family's safety was undeniable. Things got scarier when letters with human hair arrived, fueling Belafonte's suspicion that someone was targeting his family. These weren't just threats, they were warnings. But he didn't flinch. He hired security for his family and kept every letter in a locked iron box, a stark record of the hostility at a Southern performance. He boldly read some letters aloud to the crowd, turning threats into a powerful stand against injustice and racism. Ultimately, the threats couldn't break Belafonte. Each letter, each menace, fueled his fight, making him speak louder, even in the face of hate and boycotts. It's a testament to his courage, turning fear into strength to keep pushing for justice. 7. Sam Cooke, faking his death to escape the Chicago Mafia. Sam Cooke, a music legend with hits like "A Change Is Gonna Come" and "You Send Me," was more than a gifted singer. He was a resilient man who stood up to society's dark forces. As one of the first black artists to own a record label, Cooke carved out a unique chapter in music history. In 1962, as his career soared, a shadow loomed. The Chicago Mafia, a notorious underworld force, began threatening Cooke for refusing to pay protection money for his club performances. They even trashed stages and threatened his life. Unwilling to submit, but avoiding a direct clash with criminals, Cooke staged a car accident to slip their grasp. A stunt double, dressed in his clothes, drove Cooke's car to Chicago's outskirts and crashed into a wall, leaving a wrecked vehicle and a critically injured man rushed to an ambulance. Just like that, before the Mafia could act, Cooke had faked his death. Rumors of his death spread fast, convincing the Mafia their target was gone. In reality, Cooke hid in a small hotel under an alias, staying off the radar for days. Meticulous details, like his blood-stained watch and jacket left at the crash site, made the ruse convincing. Some Mafia members even sent flowers to his office, mocking his death for defying them. When Cooke reappeared a month later, after the Mafia's focus shifted and key figures were arrested in a police sweep, people couldn't believe their eyes. Cooke kept the stunt secret until his real death in 1964, and the story only surfaced afterward. His fake death showcased his daring and resourcefulness against the dark forces he faced. It also revealed a grim side of a successful black artist's life back then, the dangers and intense pressures of maintaining independence in the entertainment world. 6. Lionel Hampton, the obsession with chainsaw sounds. Lionel Hampton, a jazz legend and vibraphone virtuoso, was a symbol of boundless creativity. His explosive melodies captivated major stages, making his band a dream for countless artists while leaving a deep mark on 1930s and 40s jazz. But there's a bizarre story few know about Hampton, his obsession with chainsaw sounds. Not just a passing fancy. He turned the noise of construction site chainsaws into musical inspiration. He recorded their sounds, believing they held a natural rhythm unlike anything else. These tapes were locked away in a drawer at his New York home. Each night, he'd listen to their shrill buzz, as if hearing a cosmic beat only he could appreciate. At a 1955 Chicago performance, Hampton stunned the audience by bringing a small chainsaw on stage. He played it like an instrument, producing eerie, jarring sounds that made both the crowd and his band shudder. Later, he hung the chainsaw in his studio as a symbol of his creativity. His eccentricity didn't stop there. He once sent a remixed chainsaw sound tape to a music producer, who rejected it, politely saying it was too innovative for our audience. Bandmates said it felt like Hampton wasn't just listening to chainsaws, but communicating with them, as if they had a soul and energy. Those strange sounds became inseparable from his creative process. Hampton's haunting rhythms from chainsaws proved his limitless artistry, reflecting his freedom in a world full of constraints. 5. Eartha Kitt, kicked out of the White House for speaking out. Eartha Kitt, a music and screen legend, was renowned for her sultry voice and iconic Catwoman role in Batman 1966. She was also a fierce activist, unafraid to call out injustice. In 1968, her name shook the headlines when a brutally honest comment angered the government. Invited to a White House dinner to discuss youth issues. Kitt thought it'd be a simple talk. Asked about politics. She didn't hold back, slamming the Vietnam War as a cause of youth unrest. No one expected her words to be the final straw. Within minutes, the room turned tense, and soon after, she was escorted out, met with cold stares from government officials like sharp knives. Despite her global fame, Kitt was labeled a national security threat, banned from public U.S. events, and forced into exile in Europe for years. But it didn't end there. While performing in London, she received an anonymous letter at her hotel, warning her to stay silent or disappear forever, instead of fear. Kitt smirked. Her song, Santa Baby, became less a sweet tune and more a sarcastic jab, signaling that those trying to silence her wouldn't get their reward. Though exiled from her homeland, she proved truth was stronger than any threat. Kitt never backed down, continuing to fight for what she believed was right. 4. Richard Pryor, surviving a horrific self-immolation. Richard Pryor, a legendary comedian, was known for his sharp stand-up routines. He left a lasting mark on entertainment with films like Stir Crazy 1980 and iconic comedy shows. But behind the laughs, his life was a string of tragedies steeped in addiction and pain. On a June night in 1980, a horrifying scene unfolded at Pryor's Los Angeles home. While high on drugs, he poured liquor over himself and set himself ablaze, engulfing his body in flames. Running outside, he shocked neighbors and police. The incident landed him in the hospital for months of painful treatment for severe burns. Remarkably, instead of hiding the tragedy, Pryor turned it into material for his comedy. In later shows, he recounted the self-immolation with a mix of dark humor and horror, describing himself burning in a way that left audiences laughing and chilled. Pryor called it an accident from spilling liquor while high, but those close to him believed it was a desperate act tied to his struggles with depression and addiction. He kept a charred piece of clothing from the incident in a small glass frame, a reminder of his miraculous survival. Pryor didn't just overcome physical pain, he triumphed spiritually. The harrowing event reflected his fierce inner battles and extraordinary resilience in turning tragedy into art. Pryor proved that, even facing death, laughter could be the strongest weapon against life's demons. 3. Jimi Hendrix, the mysterious pills and a death full of questions. Jimi Hendrix, a guitar legend and one of the 20th century's greatest artists, was known for his wild, groundbreaking sound. Songs like Purple Haze and All Along the Watchtower cemented his rock legacy. But after his peak, his tragic death at 27 remains a lingering mystery. On a cold, rainy night. September 18, 1970. Hendrix was found unresponsive in a London apartment, dead from a barbiturate overdose. Reports showed the drug level in his system was 10 times the normal dose. How could someone like Hendrix, known for his rebellious lifestyle, end his life with an overdose? His girlfriend, Monica Dannemann, claimed he only took a few sleeping pills to relax, but her story didn't convince many. A blood-stained handkerchief was found near his body, its origin unknown, sparking suspicions of a third person's presence that night. Even stranger, Hendrix had told friends he felt watched and wrote a haunting poem about death, found in his wallet. The lines felt like he sensed he wouldn't survive the night. Was his life drowned in pressure, isolation, and music industry secrets? What pushed him to this point was his death an accident or a carefully planned murder? We'll never know. But one thing's certain, Jimi Hendrix's death left an unhealable void in fans' hearts. 2. Nina Simone, the Broken Mirror Collection and the Obsession with Struggle. Nina Simone, a music legend with a soul-stirring voice, shone with hits like Feeling Good in Mississippi Goddamn. Beyond her stellar career, she was a fierce civil rights activist, making her an icon against injustice. But behind the spotlight, Simone carried deep psychological scars, fighting racism and a past filled with scorn. Simone developed an odd habit collecting broken mirror pieces. these weren't random finds, they were keepsakes from places wrecked by hate and racism, like vandalized stages or dressing rooms. She stored them carefully in an ornate wooden box, believing each shard held memories of her generation's struggle. In 1970, after a performance in France, Simone shocked the audience by holding up a blood-stained broken mirror, declaring it the shattered truth of Black people, a stark reminder of their pain. The crowd was stunned, some cheering, others shuddering at the sight, as if it brought back their own battles in an unjust world. The mirror story didn't end there. Friends said Simone would stare at the shards in quiet moments, as if seeking answers. She once said they kept her fire for civil rights alive. And only by facing these broken truths could people move forward. Each mirror piece, each painful memory, was part of her fight against an unfair society. 1. Nipsey Hussle, the brutal daytime assassination. Nipsey Hussle, a renowned rapper, entrepreneur, and community activist, made waves with mixtapes like Crenshaw and the album Victory Lap. More than a music star, Hussle pioneered rebuilding South Los Angeles Black community, opening a clothing store, education center, and fighting gang violence. Tragically, on March 31, 2019, at his peak, he was assassinated outside his own store, a death that stunned the world. That morning, in his familiar neighborhood, Hussle stood outside the Marathon, his store, where he tirelessly worked to uplift youth. Suddenly, a familiar figure approached Eric Holder, a former friend, in a flash. Gunshots rang out, bullets tearing into Hussle in broad daylight, in front of dozens of witnesses. Onlookers were frozen, unable to believe the man doing good was gone in the streets he fought for. The assassination was a cruel tragedy, a slap to his efforts for change. A week earlier, Hussle received a chilling anonymous text. "Your enemies are closer than you think." It wasn't widely known until family found it on his phone after his death. Who sent it? Why didn't Hussle tell anyone? Was it a warning from those threatened by his impact on the neighborhood? Many believe his death tied to his influence, a threat to local gangs. But Holder, the shooter, claimed it was just a personal dispute. A strange detail stood out. The Marathon Continues shirt, a staple of Hussle's store, was found in a nearby alley with blood not belonging to victim or killer. The shirt symbolized Hussle's hope and resilience. Whose blood was it? Who was the third party? No one knows. The case closed with questions unanswered. Still, Nipsey Hussle's death stands as proof of the pressures, conflicts, and struggles in a community fighting for change. These stories are like cuts in the velvet curtain we call fame, behind every round of applause, every gleaming award. There are sleepless nights, threatening letters, and traps only those who've stood there understand. Many traded lifelong peace to protect their voice and dreams. If these tales shocked you, drop a comment below. And don't forget to subscribe to uncover more hidden doors behind the stage lights. Plenty of strange stories are still waiting for you to explore.